Look at this story. Gabriella was Murillo's lover and was there with him when she decides to tell Larissa everything. Murillo's wife. She takes Larissa's number on Murillo's cell phone without him noticing and soon starts taking pictures of Murillo lying there in his bed with her. At this moment she sends the photos to Larissa and says, "I had a wonderful night with your husband. He is exhausted now. As soon as your husband wakes up he will go home, you can rest assured." Larissa, who was at home taking care of her daughter, was pregnant with another girl from Murillo. She sees her cell phone ringing and goes to see it because it's a strange number. When she opens the message she sees a photo of her husband with his lover, and an audio from Gabriella, a lot from Murillo saying that he had a wonderful night with Murillo and he's sleeping exhausted and as soon as he wakes up he's going home. Larissa speaks there alone. I can't believe he had the courage to do this to me now that I'm pregnant again." Larissa is there desperate. The couple's daughter, who is so small, stands there watching her mother very nervous and still not understanding. She continues playing with her ball. Later Murillo arrives and enters the house. Larissa is waiting there to take satisfaction with him. As soon as Murillo enters, Larissa goes to him with her cell phone and shows the audio and photos and says, "May I know what this means?" Larissa keeps talking. "I can't believe you're cheating on me, Murillo. How could you have the courage to do this to me while I was pregnant?" Murillo, very ignorant, rude with Larissa, says, "You're not seeing the photo there. What do you mean you're not believing it? Are you blind that you didn't understand what's in that picture there? For your information, I do have a lover. Her name is Gabriella, and I spent a wonderful night with her. How could I not look for someone else? I come home and look at you all unkempt. You don't even take care of yourself anymore. The only thing you know how to do during the day, lie there on that sofa. When you're not on the sofa, you're in bed lying down looking at yourself in the mirror. Look how awful you look. I would have kicked you out of my house by now. I just didn't do it because you're pregnant." Larissa says, "At what moment did you become this monster?" "I'm like this because I'm pregnant." Very ignorant Murillo says, "It's your problem you're pregnant, but you should at least take care of yourself a little, and I have to take advantage of it because I'm a man and it was your fault for getting pregnant. I didn't ask to have more children." Larissa, there, very sad about what she's hearing, says, "I can't believe, Murillo, that you've turned into this monster that you're being. Are you throwing your family away because of an adventure? How dare you talk like that about your daughter who was in my belly?" Murillo says, "Shut up, Larissa. You want to know? Stay there and I'm going to enjoy my life and I'll earn more." Murillo takes it and leaves Larissa there alone. What city are you watching this story in right now? The next day, Larissa leaves to pick up her daughter from school, and when she returns she finds it strange, because she is hearing a woman's voice in her house. So that her daughter does not see the scene, she puts her daughter to play and says, "Daughter is going to play. Mommy needs to check something and then I'll come and get you." The girl is so small that she understands nothing, does what her mother asked. Larissa then enters her house and goes to her and her husband's room. When opening the door, Larissa has a huge surprise. Very angry, she says, "What is this, Murillo? What does it mean? What are you doing with another one in our bed?" Lover Gabriella pretends to be surprised. Murillo soon says, "But what are you doing here, Larissa?" Larissa says, "But this is my house. What do you mean, what am I doing here? I ask you, what are you doing here with that woman?" Lover Gabriella stands there laughing at the situation. Murillo, very angry, says, "Who told you to arrive earlier? You're nothing but a busybody here. This is my house. I'm in charge here." Larissa says, "But I'm your wife. The house is mine too. I don't know why you're doing this to me, Murillo. Why are you treating me this way?" Murillo, angry, gets up and says, "I want you to leave my house now, Larissa." Larissa says, "More, Murillo, I'm pregnant. I have nowhere to go." Murillo, very angry, takes Larissa by the arm and says, "I don't want to know you're going to leave my house today, you and those children." He puts Larissa, his daughter, out of the house. Larissa, with nowhere to stay, ends up on the street. Murilo's lover there ends up taking advantage of the situation when it's just her and Murilo in the house and says, "Murilo, I have to tell you, I found out I'm pregnant." Murilo is very happy to learn that his lover is pregnant and asks her to stay there and live with him. Larissa goes to the street with her pregnant daughter Laura. She stays there, depending on the kindness of people, but not everyone is kind enough to help her. But Larissa did not imagine that a great opportunity would arise for her there. Marcos, the businessman who has a shop across the street from where Larissa is, sees her in that situation on the street with a small and pregnant child. Realize the situation in which you find yourself pregnant and with a small daughter, in which street situation I know that many people are not kind, they pass by and humiliate you, but I want to offer you an opportunity. I am a businessman and there is a market and some stores I would like you to come and work with me. I am in urgent need of an attendant and maybe this is your chance to start over. Larissa says, "Look, young man, honestly I don't have any experience, but if you really want to give me this opportunity one can make the effort and get it. So if you have the patience to teach me I'll accept, yes sir, because this is a great opportunity. After all I have a daughter small, and I'm pregnant, this will help me a lot." Marcos says, "Don't worry girl, if you're willing to learn over time, you'll gain experience. And I do want to help you because no one deserves to be in this situation you're in, and even more serious with a small baby. But let's go, so I'm going to teach you things little by little, and if you want to start tomorrow or next week, it's up to you. I'll find you a place to stay too." Larissa is very happy with Marcos's help. He helps her get up from there, and takes her to a room that he has arranged so that she can be with her daughters. A few months later, Larissa had already given birth. She became manager of one of the stores and played her role very well. That day Larissa was off duty and received a call on her cell phone. When she went to answer it, she was surprised to see who it was. She answers and says, "Hello?" Murilo then says, "That's him." Larissa says, "But why are you calling me after all this time, Murilo?" Murilo says, "He's calling because he'd like to see his daughters." Larissa says, "I shouldn't even let you see what you did to them, it was horrible, but they are very young and don't really understand what happened, and whether I like it or not you are their father and you end up having rights, so it's okay, you can come here to see them." I thank him, asks for the address, and Larissa gives him the address, and says that later he will go there to see his daughters. Larissa says, "Okay, we will be waiting." Larissa gets ready to guard Murilo. Later he arrives calling for her. Larissa will receive him and he says, "I'm glad you decided to come see your daughters, right?" Larissa says, "Come in and I'll go get them." Larissa takes Murilo to her daughters. He is impressed to see them. He speaks, "Wow, how big they are." Larissa says, "Yes, they have grown a lot." Larissa stops testing Murilo to see if he's still the same shameless person he was and says, "Let's talk a little, Murilo." And there she realizes that he is still the same person who is trying to get closer to her again. He says, he misses her so much that what he had with Gabriella was just an adventure, that he realized he did the wrong thing by exchanging Larissa. Larissa decides to leave it to see how far Murilo will go with his lies. He says, "I made a lot of mistakes, Larissa, with you, but Gabriella is also pregnant and I don't even know what to do now, but I can always come and see my daughters, and you here." Larissa says, "You're with her. I don't think it would be good for you to come here all the time." Murilo says that he is still with Gabriella, but he realized that she was just a hobby, that he really loved Larissa. At that moment, Marcos approaches Larissa, so he introduces Marcos to Murilo as her husband. He says, "This one is my husband." Murilo. Spoken, "How you got married so fast, I thought you loved me." Larissa speaks, "I want you to leave my house now, Murilo." Murilo then leaves. Murilo goes home, and when he gets home he has a huge surprise. He finds Gabriella cheating on him, and the worst, with another woman. Murilo, very angry, says, "What kind of joke is this, Gabriella?" Murilo, who is still with Gabriella, but he realized that she was just a hobby, that he really loved Larissa. Spoken, "Well, you had your chance, Murilo, and you didn't take it. You showed me who you really were. You showed that you weren't the right person for me." Murilo says, "But last week I came here, you were very calm, you talked to me as if you wanted to come back." Larissa says, "I only did that because I needed to see who you really were. Just for your information, Murilo, I am married, and very well." At that moment, Marcos approaches Larissa, so he introduces Marcos to Murilo as her husband. He says, "This one is my husband, Murilo." Murilo. Spoken, "How you got married so fast, I thought you loved me." Larissa says, "But the one who betrayed me was you, the one who changed me was you, you disrespected me, and now I ask you to leave my house, because I don't want to see your face anymore." Murilo then leaves. When Murilo arrives home he has a surprise. He finds Gabriella cheating on him, and the worst, with another woman. Murilo, very angry, says, "What kind of joke is this, Gabriella? I arrive and see a scene like this?" Murilo, very angry, says, "How did you have the courage to do that? Gabriella, being pregnant with my child, still cheats on me with another woman." Gabriella, laughing, says, "But this son is not yours." Murilo says, "What do you mean it's not mine? Whose son is this then?" An angry Murilo goes to them and takes them both by the arm and puts them out of his house. She leaves talking and laughing that the child is not his. He puts them out. What did you think of this story? What would you do?